What's going on, guys? Balkan Architect here, and this is the building or the house that we're going to be modeling in this course. So it will be a 1-hour course, and this is the end product that we're going to be creating. Now we're going to be starting off with just creating, setting up and saving the file. Then we're going to be creating some levels, then moving on to just sketching out the basic floor plan according to our according to the sketch that I have already sketched by hand, and then you just place some walls later on, and they're just going to be basic walls. Then we're going to be adding some grids and adding more precision into the model. Then we're going to be introducing different wall types. As you can see, the outside wall should be, of course, thicker than the inside wall. And then we're going to be moving on to doing all of the doors and windows, just doing all of the openings and setting everything up correctly. Then we're going to be moving on to floors as well as the roofs. We have two types of roofs, the flat roof as well as a sloped roof. And then finally we're going to be just doing all of the furniture here in the floor plan, and just setting up the site plan. So we have this little road, we have some trees, we have the ground and stuff like that. So first things first, we need to create a new project and of course name it and save it, and just do some of the basic settings that are going to help us with the project. So I'm going to be using the architectural template for this project. So just here on the projects, find the architectural template, and that's just what I'm going to be choosing. Next thing, I'm going to save this project immediately. I suggest you do that every time you start a new project. I suggest you go here to File, you go to Save or Save As, it doesn't matter, it's still going to give you the Save As dialog just because it's the first time you're saving your project. I'm just going to go to Desktop and let's save it as a residential project or residential house project. Okay, so I'm just going to hit save, and now you're going to notice that here we have the residential house project and we can start with our model. So before we do the actual modeling, I like to do some of the basic settings. So I'm first going to change the units. So just go to UN, type in UN, and here for the length, I'm just going to change it to centimeters. That's just what I prefer for working in these projects. And that's it. I'm going to leave the rest of the settings as is. I'm just going to hit OK, and there we go. Next thing, here we have some floor plans, and I'm actually going to add another level just because this is going to be a one-story house, but we need to have a foundation level, a first floor or just the floor plan level, and then we need to have the roof level. So for that, I just like to go here to the elevations. I'm going to go to the south elevation. And here for level 1, let's just leave it at 0, but we're going to be renaming it. So now you can just select it here and then go to the properties, and I'm just going to extend it a little bit. And here we have the name under identity data, and let me just change the name to 0 or maybe 00, and let's call it floor plan. There we go. Hit enter. And it's going to give you this question, do you want to rename it? Yes, and there we go. This is our floor plan. Then for the top one, I'm just going to call this one roof level. So just go to name. This is going to be 01 roof level. Yes, and for the height, you can go either again over here and find the elevation, or you can click over here and let's change that to 320. So 320 centimeters. Now I want to add an additional floor plan just to use as our top of the foundation, because our foundation walls are going to be going up to that or from that that level. So I'm going to go to the level tool. You can either go here to the level tool, use the shortcut LL, or alternatively you can just select one of these levels, right click, go to create similar over here, or use the shortcut CS for that, and then we can create another one. Now for this one, I'm just going to be placing it at minus, let me do it at minus 90 centimeters. Now the reason for this is, for example, in my country, the frost goes up to minus 90 centimeters, and then below that the ground never freezes. And usually, or pretty much always, you want to have your foundation placed below the freezing line. So that's why we have the top of foundation at minus 90. Now I'm just going to select that level and change its name. Again, you can change it here in the properties or just click here, and let's change it to -01. Let me add a space here, -01, and let's call it top of foundation. There we go. Let me maybe add a space here. There we go. Hit enter and rename the views. Now in this case here, the view name will be blocking the view on top. Now to fix that in views, we're going to be fixing that later on in our sections, but just to show you right now while we're here, you can either change the scale to something smaller so it fits, or if you want to keep the same scale but you don't want it to overlap, you can just select the view, hit this add elbow button over here, and then you can add this little elbow that allows you to move the foundation, top of foundation name underneath. As you can see, the level is still at the same height. It's just moved down here, so it doesn't protrude here into the other name of the other level. Okay, so now here we have 3 levels, and you're going to notice that you've got an additional tab. So here it says structural plans. Now for this tab, when you open it up, you're going to notice that you only have the top of foundation. The reason for that is the top of foundation is the only new level that we've created. These two were already existing with the file, and these were only floor plans, architectural floor plans, and this one is both a structural plan as well as the architectural plan. Now in this case, we're not going to be doing structural plans, so what I suggest you do is just select it, or just go here to structural plans, right click, and then just delete this. So as you can see, now we don't really have any structural plans, but we still have our top of foundation level. And here you can notice that we have top of foundation, floor plan, and roof level, and then also the site plan. And for the ceiling plans, again, we have those same 3 minus everything minus the site plan. Okay, so now once we have all of these levels in place, we can start modeling. So let me go to floor plan. Once we're here in the floor plan, it's time to start placing some walls. Now for the walls, I don't want to set anything up too perfectly at the moment. I'm going to be using Revit in the way that it was intended to be used, and if you know what Revit means, the actual Revit name means revise and edit. So the idea behind Revit is to basically throw some elements here on your screen, and then you kind of refine it and put everything in order and play around and change it around. So let's first create our first draft, throw some walls on the screen, and then we're going to be revising it and editing it. So I'm going to go here to the architecture tab, and here we have the wall command. Alternatively, you can use the WA or wall command. So WA is the shortcut. I'm just going to go here to wall, and when you go into properties and you open up the drop menu, now with this, with the template that I chose, I have some of these generic walls, and I'm going to go with the generic 200 pretty much for all of the walls on my project for now, and then I'm going to play around with setting the walls, the wall layer, the different thicknesses of walls and stuff like that. But before we start placing the walls, one thing that I am going to set up, that is the height of the wall, or all of the top and bottom constraints. So I'm just going to set here to height. That means that it's going to be going from floor plan up to, now it currently says unconnected, but I'm going to change that to roof level. And here for the location line, I'm just going to leave it at wall center line. That doesn't matter that much at the moment. And for the chain, I'm going to leave it on. That just means when you start placing walls, you can just continue placing all of these walls. Now let me just delete this because I don't need that formation of walls. So again, as I said, don't think too much about the lengths and the actual dimensions. You just need to throw some walls over here. So I'm just going to go like perhaps like this, go like that, maybe, yeah, like this. Now I have a sketch of this house in front of me, so usually I like to sketch things out first, and then I just start kind of throwing elements on my screen. So it's going to go kind of like this. Here we're going to have a bit of an entrance, and then it's going to be like that. So the house is going to look kinda like this. Here I want to have my living room, here is the garage, here is the kitchen and the dining area, and then like this L-shaped I want to have 3 rooms as well as a bathroom. So now to continue playing around with this, I'm just going to extend this a little bit, then start the wall command again, just WA is the shortcut, then close off this garage section, maybe add a bathroom over there just for the guests, the guest bathroom. Then I'm going to create another wall over here, just like perhaps like that, yeah, maybe something like this. Then I'm just going to select this wall, extend it to create a couple of rooms over here, then go WA again for the wall. So anytime I restart the wall command, I'm going to be using the WA shortcut. So just keep that in mind. Then here, maybe go like this to have a bathroom over here. Then maybe a wall like this that's going to separate this room from the kitchen. And then for the kitchen, it's going to go something like this. Yeah, kind of like that. So the kitchen is going to have just an auxiliary room over here, just some sort of a storage room. Yeah, there we go. So we've got a bit of a hallway over here, then some kitchen storage, then an extra room over here. Then here is this is going to be the dining area, and this is the living room area. So once I have all of these elements like this in place, now it's time to kind of start refining it just a little bit. So I'm going to select this wall, and here, as you can see, the distance from the center line of the wall to the center line of the wall is 420. I'm going to change that to maybe 380. Yeah, just a bit smaller than the whole length of the house. Let's see. So I want to see the length from here to here, so I'm just going to change this dimension line. Yeah, it's 1400. Let's change it to 1500 for now. Okay, it extended this side, but that's okay. Next thing, let's see what else can we play around with. So the length of this whole garage, I want it to be at like something like 6.6 meters. Yeah, this works. Let's go at 6.6. So let's go 660. And then for the bathroom, let's give it 140. Yeah, that seems to be working. Then for this entrance, yeah, let's do it at 150. Yeah, give it a bit more room. Let's see. For this thing, yeah, let's leave the entrance as is. Now for these rooms, I want them to be a bit longer. Let's see, they're currently at 360. Let's do them at 380. There we go, a bit longer rooms. And so as you can see, I'm just playing around with these dimensions and just fine-tuning all of this. Of course, it's going to be a lot more precise later on, but for now, let's just play around like this. Now I have made some additional adjustments, and I'm happy with the layout for now. Of course, when we add the furniture and when we change the walls, the whole layout might change a little bit. Now, I'm not going to go too much into the construction of the building, but for residential buildings or houses like this, usually you will have a construction system that's running in one way. Basically, we're just trying to figure out in which direction the construction of our roof is going to be placed. So usually, at least in my country, for these types of buildings, usually you will have a structural or bearing walls running either vertically or horizontally. In this case, I want to have this one, this one, this one, and this one as structural walls or structural elements. So I'm just going to add grids in that direction just to help me out a little bit. So for grids, you can either use the shortcut GR or go here to the grid tool and just select it. Then you need to come to the wall, and as you can see, when I come to the wall, it immediately goes to the center of the wall, so it kind of has that little snapping option. So I can just select there and place grid line number 1. Here I'm going to be placing grid line number 2, grid line number 3, and grid line number 4. And there we go. So we've got our vertical grid lines, and for the horizontal ones, I'm not going to bother as we don't have any construction elements or walls running in that direction. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, once we have this established, our construction, now we need to move on to playing around with the walls just a little bit more. So for our external walls, usually are going to have them as thicker walls, and the interior walls are going to be maybe some thinner walls. So what I'm going to do now is just hover over one of the exterior walls and just hit the tab key once. And as you can see, Revit is going to kind of make a chain selection. So you can click and select the whole thing, and now using the Control and Shift key we can add or remove from that selection. So I'm just going to hold the Shift key and remove this wall, for example, and then I'm going to hold the Control key and add this wall. Now this is running a bit inside, same thing here, but don't worry about that. We're going to worry about that a bit later on. So once I have these selected, now I can change them. So I'm just going to go here to the properties, and let's just change them from the generic 200 to the generic 300 wall. And now as you can see, it's a bit thicker. Now for the interior walls, I'm just going to select, let's select all of them for now, and let's do these, and let's change them to maybe a generic 150 millimeter. There we go. Now we've got some thinner walls inside. Okay, now for these problems over here, problem spots, as we could call them, I'm just going to go to the split tool element, or split element tool. So go here to the modify tab, and here you've got your split element tool, or as you can see, the shortcut is SL. So I'm just going to type in SL and hit over here. Now, as you can see, these are two walls. So what I'm going to do is just select this one and flip it to the generic 150. Now it might look a bit weird here in this corner, so what I like to do in these cases is just detach this wall just a little bit and then try to align it here on this edge. Now if you can't align it properly, what you can do is use the align tool. So again, go to the modify tab, here you have the align tool, or again, use the shortcut AL in this case. So I'm just going to type in AL, click this line first, then this line, and you can lock it in place so it moves around together. And now we can kind of merge those two. Now the same thing we're going to be doing here. So just SL first, let's do this a bit more quickly. Now switch this to the generic 150. And there we go. And then detach it first, then use the align, and then align it here. Lock it in place, and then you can reattach it again. Okay, so we've got our basic kind of divide into two different wall types. Maybe go over here and let's add a curtain wall over here. So because this will be our kind of a dining area and this here will be a living room area, I would like to have large openings over here. Now you can do that by placing windows, of course, but in some cases you want to have a larger surface opening, and I really prefer putting curtain walls here. So what you can do for curtain walls, just go here to the architecture tab and go to the wall command. So once you're in wall, go to the properties, open up the drop menu for the wall type, and here I'm just going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and here we have the curtain wall options, and I'm going to go with the storefront. So you just select the storefront, and before we place it, we're going to change the properties just a little bit. So what you can do over here, you can change the constraints. So I'm just going to leave the constraints at the floor plan 00 and the upper level, or the top constraint for our 01 roof, but I'm going to give it a top offset. So it's just going to be offset just a little bit, maybe, I don't know, let's go with 80 centimeters. So just hit apply, and now you can go ahead over here and just place that curtain wall there. So we've got one curtain wall here and one curtain wall here. So the reason I did it that way is now if we switch to 3D, and if we orbit around, let's see what happens. Okay, these are popping up a bit. So let's see, these walls, yeah, they're going up to roof. And these two, for some reason, are a bit higher. Oh, my top offset should have been -80. So I made a mistake there. So just type in -80. And there we go, looks a lot better already. So we have our 3D floor plan over here, so we can just orbit around, see what that looks like. Okay, it looks pretty nice. So we've got our curtain walls over here to kind of bring in more illumination for our living room as well as our dining area. Let's go back to our floor plan. Now, once we have placed these two curtain wall openings, it might be a good time to do the rest of the openings for this house over here. So to do those, I'm going to be loading in some families. Now you can use the ones that are already loaded in for the doors. You have this single flush, and for the windows, you've got some windows that come with this template. But I prefer using my own, so for those, I'm just going to load them in. And these doors and windows that I'm going to be using are the ones that I've created in one of my previous courses, or two of my previous courses. And if you want to check those out and see how I've created these families, I'm going to be leaving links to those in the description or in this post. So just check that out if you haven't seen it already. Okay, so I'm going to go here to the Insert tab and go to Load Family. And I've saved those on my desktop. Here I've got families, and here under doors and windows I've got all of the doors and windows that I'm going to be using, and I'm just going to select these and hit open. Now sometimes it's not going to allow you to open multiple families, so that might be annoying, so you have to go one by one. Now I haven't figured out at which point it allows you, or for what reason sometimes it allows you to do it and sometimes not. So let's continue on. Yeah, I think I've got them all. So once we're here, let's do the door for this living room exit to the balcony. So what I'm going to do is just select this curtain wall mullion and unpin it, so I can move it all the way to this end. And let's make the door some 85 centimeters, for example. Yeah, let's go with 85. And now to change this into an actual door, it's not as simple as placing a regular door just by going here to door and then placing perhaps an entrance door like this. So it's not as simple as that. What you need to do is you need to come to this panel, hit tab once, then select the actual panel, unpin it, and now you can change it from the panel to this door curtain wall. Now this is the door that I've just loaded in, so if you haven't loaded it in, it doesn't exist in your family, so just make sure that you load it in. And all of these families are in a separate post, so make sure to check that out if you want to download and use these exercise files. So anyway, we've got our door, that's our exit out of the house on this side. Here we've got this entrance door that I have over here. Let's see the dimensions of the door. Yeah, we can leave these dimensions as is, maybe change the width. I'm going to go with 95 centimeters, as I like larger doors for the entrance. There we go, this looks nice already. Now moving on, here I can either put a door over here, or I can just move this wall a little bit out of the way. I prefer like this, so we have a separate like entrance area, but it isn't too intrusive to the building. Moving on next, let's go to doors again. Let's see what else do we have. So we have our garage door, so that might be a good thing to place. Now it might be a bit too tall, so here, as you can see under dimensions in the properties panel, I can make adjustments to that door. So for the garage door, I think it's all right to have it something like, I don't know, like 240 centimeters high. My car isn't going to be larger than that. And for the width, let's go with 320. Again, I don't plan on having cars that are that large. Let's place it and see what that looks like. Yeah, I think this looks all right. Center it a bit. Yeah, there we go. So when you select it, you're going to get these dimension lines, so I'm just going to make sure that they say the same number, and in this case it's 215 by 215. So we've got our garage over here, and it's one of those that kind of rolls up ahead, so that's why we have this little dashed line that's just showing you that this is where the rolling garage door is going to be ending up. Okay, moving on, let's do the rest of the doors. So let's go to door again. Now, I've got my regular door, so I'm going to go with the 800 birch wood door. So maybe place it over here. I'm just going to place it kind of like this. The reason why I have this kind of separation is because when I go from this side of the door, I want to have enough room to place maybe some sort of some sort of storage on this wall. So maybe leave something like 70 centimeters on that side, so you have just enough room to place some sort of storage there. So yeah, but make sure you're measuring from the edge of the wall. So just like that. Yeah, let's do 70 centimeters. There we go. So now this door is in the correct place. Okay, so we've got this door. Let's go and add more of these doors. So I'm going to be using this for all of the small doors, like this bathroom door here, maybe the entrance to this kind of little storage area over here. Now once you place the door, once you hold the door in place by going from one side to the other side of the wall, you flip that direction, and by hitting the space key you flip the side of the door. So I'm just going to place one here for the bathroom area, or maybe, yeah, let's place it over here for now. Okay, we've got all of the small doors in place. Let's continue on, go with door again. Now I've got this glass door, so that's the one that I'm going to be using here for the kitchen, just like that. So you can go from the kitchen, and also here from this bedroom I'm going to place a glass door like this. The reason I'm going with a glass door for this is because I want to have a view outside, so that's why I have those glass doors there. Moving on, let's go with a regular door. Let's do the 900 one, and let's go maybe with a white one, and I'm going to do one here, maybe like this. One for this room over here, one for this room over here. There we go. And let's see, do we need any more? Okay, we need one here. And there we go. That should do it for all of the doors for this house. And if we need any additional doors, maybe, just maybe, we can add one more over here. So this is the bathroom, and maybe I want to have a separate area for the actual water closet. So maybe move it like that, have a separate area for that, just because it's so close to the living room and the dining room. When you flush the toilet, you don't want people sitting here and eating to hear the flush, of course. So that's it for the doors. Now let's go and play around with the windows a little bit. Now that's going to be a bit different because the windows are just a basic size. The ones that we've loaded in are a window. So this is the one from the previous course that I've done on Windows in Revit. So I've got these basic dimensions, and this can be used for some windows. So maybe we can go with the aluminum one, place one maybe there. Let's see. Yeah, that looks correct, but maybe I want to make it just a little bit larger. So what I can do is just come into this family, go into edit type, and let's duplicate and create a new type. So this one's 1600 by 110, so that's the height is 160 centimeters. So let's go with, I don't know, 180, and or yeah, let's go with 160 for the height. Let's leave it at that, but for the width, let's go with 160 as well, maybe 180, just to make it a bit larger. There we go. Okay, hit apply. Okay, now this is a bigger window, so I like this one. Now I made a mistake. I didn't duplicate this, so what I can do is just duplicate, call it number 2, and let's actually rename this one. So it's, what did we do? We did 180 by 160. There we go, and delete this number 2 and hit OK. And for the previous one, the one that we've changed as well, this one I'm just going to change back to the regular dimensions. So just change it to that. Okay, hit apply, then switch to this one, the largest one. Hit OK. There we go. So we've got this larger window, and now to copy that same window, you can just select it and go CS for create similar, and then maybe you can place one over here for this room, maybe place one over here for this room, and for the living room, let's do one on this side. Let's see, do we need any more windows? Yeah, well, maybe for the garage, I like to have a garage in the a garage window, because I like my garage to be ventilated, but I don't want to have too large of a window over here. So what I'm going to do now is just go here into my edit type dialog, duplicate, and let's make a bit of a different window. So the height of this window is going to be actually quite small, so let's go with 400 millimeters, and for the width it can be, yeah, we can stay at 16 or 160. Hit OK, and just for the height let's change it to 40. Okay, so it's going to be a bit of a weird window, so let's place it over here, and I'm just going to be placing, maybe we can do 3 of them. So these are going to be one of those windows that are kind of in the top of the garage wall, so kind of like this. Now if you want to make the equal distance between these 3, what you can do is go with DI or dimension line, or alternatively just go here to the quick access toolbar and just go to the middle of each window, just like that, and then hit EQ. Now they're at equal distances, and now you can just select this and delete it, and you can unconstrain it or not if you don't want. Okay, let's go into 3D, let's see what that looks like. So these windows, when I orbit around, they're kind of here, which doesn't look that good, so I can change the sill height to something a bit larger, like 160. And it already looks better, but I really wanted to kind of match maybe the garage door or this window, so let's go with 2 meters. Yeah, looks better already. Let's do 210. There we go, looks a lot better. So we've got 4 of these little windows that we have over here just for garage ventilation, and they actually look pretty nice on the facade of this building. They kind of match this window. Okay, so that looks pretty nice already. Let's go. What else do we need for windows? Well, we need some bathroom windows, and for those I'm going to use the same height. I like this kind of small height window, but what I'm going to do is go window, edit type, and let's duplicate this type and let's make it 400 by 600 millimeter aluminum window, and here just change this to 60. There we go. Go OK, and place one perhaps over here and one over here for the bathroom, kind of like that. Okay, go into 3D. So this one was at 210, so let's change this one as well. So for the sill height, 210 centimeters, and the same thing goes for this one as well. So 210 centimeters. Oops. Okay, I've changed the depth offset. That's not what I want to change. So let's go at 210. Now this one, let's see. Let's go into floor plan. Yeah, it might be on the wrong side. Yeah, now it's in the correct place. Now they might look a bit weird just because they're so high up, and the actual the cut line isn't cutting through these windows, so they look kind of weird. But don't worry, when you go into 3D, they are all in the correct place. So we've got those windows in place. Maybe add one more big window here for the living room. So let's go there, floor plan. Go with one of these. So I'm just going to select this one, go CS for create similar, and let's place it over here. Now this one might be too small, so I'm just going to go here into edit type, and let's duplicate this one and do 2000 perhaps, just to make it a bit larger, and let's go here with 200. Okay. There we go, that's a bit of a bigger window, and it kind of complements this this room. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of light here in our living room. With all of the openings completed, let's move on to the floors and the roofs. So first let's do the floor. I'm going to go here to the floor tool, select it, and you're going to get these pop-up windows, so I just suggest you save the project. They come up like every 15 minutes or so. And now we can place our little floor. So what I'm going to be doing now is just go here to pick walls. I'm going to pick one of the walls, hit the tab key, and as you can see, it allows me to select all of the walls. I click once, and there we go. It selected all of the walls. Now I will make some adjustments. So for example, this line, I'm going to move it away from the wall by about 120 centimeters. just enough so you can walk by over here, maybe 100 centimeters. Yeah. And the next thing that I'm going to do is just extend this to the other side, so we have some sort of a trail that comes up to the house. Now here I want to have some room so you can walk around the house. This is going to be even less, something like 80 centimeters. And on this side I want to have a terrace, so maybe just delete this thing as well, and then just go with trim and extend, or TR, or find it here, modify tab, trim and extend, and let's extend it over here. Now let's just see how, yeah, that's 2 meters. That's pretty much enough for a little porch on the back of the house. Okay, so we have our bottom floor, and when we go here to properties, it's just by sketch. Let's finish this. Yeah, as you can see, it's a generic 400 millimeter floor. You can switch it to something else. For now, let's stick to the generic one. Now we have this floor in place. Let's just go into 3D. So this is what it looks like. So here we have that little trail going up to the house. Then we have a bit of room in front of the house, and then back here we have a bit more room. This is going to be outside the dining, and here we have a bit for this bedroom. It has a bit of a terrace over here. And here we have that door that exits out. Now this might not look like a door, but if we flip this to fine, you're going to notice that now a doorknob pops up over here in this corner. So yeah, that's a door. Okay, so we've got everything in place. So now let's go and do the roofs. So for the roof, I want a sloped roof going on this portion of the house. This, as you can see, it's kind of one part of the house is the garage with the living room area, and then the other part of the house will be just a regular flat roof. So to do that, I'm going to go to the roof level. Here we go, and as you can see now the whole house is kind of grayed out. And let's do first the roof above the garage, as well as the living room and this little bathroom in the middle. So I'm going to go here to roof tool, and it goes immediately into roof by sketch if you select the whole roof tool. If I exit out of that, and if I go to the roof tool, open up the drop menu, here you might want to use some of the other options, but for now let's just use the roof by sketch. I'm going to go with a rectangle with an offset of 60 centimeters. That's just what I prefer to have for a bit of a offset or overhang on the roof. So let's go all the way to the other side. There we go. And for the slope of the roof, I only want the slope to be on this side, or the angle to be on this side. So I'm just going to select these 3 sides and uncheck defines slope. And for the slope, let's go with 20 degrees, and then we'll see what that looks like. Go into 3D, hit finish, and there we go. We have our sloped roof, and it actually looks quite good. Now, once we have that in place, let's attach our walls to the roof. So what I'm going to do is select this wall, this wall, this wall, and this wall, and this wall as well. And if I go attach top base, select the roof, as you can see, it's going to attach those walls. Now here we might have a problem, just because we don't have a wall running on this side, and this will be then just an empty area on top. So what I'm going to do in order to fix that is just go here to roof level, and then just go with a simple wall. You can do it unconnected, and just go from this wall all the way to the other wall, and just select it and switch it to the 300 millimeter wall. Go into 3D, and there we go. Now we can just select it and attach top base, and there we go. Now we can just attach these 2 walls. So just go here to join, and let's see. Yeah, so now we get rid of that ugly line. There we go. So this part of the house already looks nice. What you might want to do is just drop it down a little bit. So I'm going to give it a base offset of minus 20 centimeters. And as you can see, it kind of dropped a little bit, maybe minus 30, just to make it look a bit better. Yeah, I prefer this look, and maybe change the angle from 20, the slope, to maybe 15. Yeah, I really prefer the way this looks to the way it looked previously. Okay, so we have that. Now let's do the flat roof here. Now for the flat roof, what you're going to be doing is pretty much the same approach as far as the floor plans go. So go to your roof level. So just double click, and here we have that roof that we already have. Now for this roof, it's going to be located over here above this part of the house. So just go to architecture. Again, go to the roof tool. Now for the flat roof, you might be tempted to go with a floor, but this should be categorized as a roof, and you can do a flat roof just by using the roof command. And later on, we might add some drainage points on that roof, so it's really useful to have it as a roof. So just go to roof. You can still go to walls, and let's go here to walls, select the whole thing, and of course we're going to be deleting this whole part. Well, let's just leave one line. So I'm just going to hold the shift key and just unselect that, hit delete, use trim and extend to attach this to that and this to this. Okay, there we go. Now we might want to flip this on the inside just because the roof will be going there. So it just should be on the inside of these walls. And yeah, that's almost done. We just need to select all of these lines and uncheck define slope. And when we hit finish, go into 3D, and there we go. We've got our roof. Now you're going to notice that the roof is going to be going above the line. So if I go to one of the elevations, let's go maybe to the south elevation. Here, if I create a floor, the floor is going to have, it's going to be oriented from the floor plan on which it is on, from the level on which it's hosted, down. And the roof is going to be going from the level on which it's hosted upward. So you might leave this as is, or you can give it an offset of the thickness of the roof. In this case, that's 300 millimeters. So you can just go here and type in -30 if that's what you choose, but I'm just going to leave it at 0. Next thing, this doesn't really look right. Flat roofs don't look like this. So what you need to do is just hover over one of the walls, hit the tab key, and then it's going to select all of the walls. Of course, this is not what you want, so just go with the shift key and just uncheck these walls. So let's do the, oops, let's try that again. Now you might want to go here. Yeah, let's see. So not this one, not that one. And if it accidentally unselects everything when you flip to a different view, you can always right click and go select previous. There we go. So we should just hold the shift key and uncheck this wall as well. So there we go. So the walls that we want to select are selected, and now we're going to go here to the top offset, and let's give it a top offset that should be at least 300 millimeters, maybe a bit more. So let's go with 60. Or centimeters. So let's go with 60 centimeters, and there we go. We've got a bit of a wall going above that. You maybe want to go even to 70. Yeah, there we go. Now this looks like a proper flat roof. So there we go. And here, let's go into edit footprint. Let's see. Yeah, as you can see, it's going to the inside of that wall, so that's not what we want to have. So to adjust that, maybe go to roof level, and yeah, here I'm just going to use the align tool. AL is the shortcut, and just attach this to that. And there we go. Hit finish. And if we go into 3D, there we go. We've got our floor, and we've got our flat roof, as well as our sloped roof. Now, to make our building a bit more presentable to our imaginary client, we're going to need to add some furniture. So for that, let me go here to the floor plan, and I'm going to go here to the insert tab, and let's load in some families. So I'm just going to go to load families, and here we loaded in the doors and windows. I'm going to go back, and let's do the bathroom elements. So let's try these. That doesn't work. So let's go with the water closet first. Go to component, and let's place it over here in the bathroom. Now you can hit the space key to or rotate it around, and I'm just going to place it perhaps over here next to this wall. And if you want to align it with the wall, you can always use the align tool. So just AL is the shortcut, and you can lock it to the wall. So now you can only move it alongside that wall. Let's do another one. So I'm just going to go here to architecture. Let's go component. And let's place the second one over here. Again, use the align tool. So just the align tool to align it in place. There we go. Let's lock it in place, and it's done. Let's move on to adding other furniture. So go to Insert, Load Family. Let's go with the wash basin, open that up. Go to Component here and let's place it. As you can see, this is a wall-based family, so we're just going to place one over there and one over here. So there we go, we've got that. Let's go then next. Insert, Load Family. Let's use the shower tray that we have over here, open that up. And for that, we're just going to be placing it somewhere over here. So let's place it like that. You can use the Align tool and align this in place over here. And there we go. Maybe move this a bit here. Select this, move it a bit there. There we go. So now there's enough room for everything. And in one of the next tutorials, we're going to be talking about, or the next courses, we're going to be talking about how to add a glass panel over here to kind of protect the rest of the bathroom from the water of this shower. Okay, moving on, we've got some of the basic bathrooms figured out. Now let's continue on adding the elements. So you can go back to the Insert tab, Load Family. Let's go back, see what else we have. So let's go maybe with a car. So let's add a car to our garage. Now this is a particular family that I have created previously. So I'm just going to go here to Component and let's place that car over here. So there we go, that's our car family. Now this is a particularly good family to use in projects like this because, as you can see, usually cars look like this with all of this geometry, and I've kind of fine-tuned this one to make it look just like this, simple line work as you would with a CAD model. But if you go into 3D, it's actually a 3D car. So if I go into 3D, switch this to wireframe, there we go, we can see our 3D car. Let me go back into Hidden Line. So if you want to see that tutorial, I'm going to be leaving a link to that in this post as well, so check it out if you haven't seen it already. Let's go back to the floor plan. We've got our garage figured out. Now let's maybe add some beds. So let's go to Insert, Load Family, and let's see what we have. We have a double bed, so let's load that one in. Go here to Component, and let's place it here. Now I'm just going to use the Align tool to align it to this. There we go. We've got our big bed here. Now it might be a bit too large for this room, so this is basically telling us that this room is not big enough. So what I can do is just go like this, select all of these elements. So just do a cross selection just like that, and then use the arrow keys. And don't worry about this warning, just use the arrow keys just a little bit to extend this room. So once we start adding the furniture, you can really see do you have enough room in your model. So now we have a bit more room. This door is a bit problematic, and there we go. The rest of it looks fine. Now we can maybe add a bit more room to this bathroom, so I can select these two walls and move them kind of back here. Again, we got a warning over here, but just slide the door back here, and there we go. That's that revise and edit. When you start adding furniture, you're going to notice that your design is usually going to change a little bit, just because you can't really guess all of the dimensions right from the start. Okay, let's continue on. With this, you can go straight to Component and then Load Family if you're loading something like beds. So let's go with a single bed. Now the single beds are going to go here in these families. So let's do one perhaps over here, just like that. Maybe flip it to the other side. Let's see. Yeah, it might be better to place it over here, just like that. Leave enough space because you want to add some storage over here. Let's do another one over here in this room. So in this room, maybe we can do it. Yeah, we can do it like that. So this is just going to be, now these beds are quite large. So as you can see, they're almost 140 centimeters. So you can go here into Edit and you can actually make it smaller. So just select it and go here into Properties, and you can go with a smaller one. Something like this for this room if you want. This room as well. So for this one, I'm actually going to go with the bigger one, maybe with the queen size bed. This might be a guest room or something like that. So let's leave this bed over here. And still here we have some storage area left. Okay, so we've got those in place, and talking about storage, let's add those storage elements. So I'm going to go here to component, load family, and here we have this storage family. Now this is a very particular family. This is something that I'm showing you in one of the tutorials that I'm going to be doing till the end of this week, but depending on when you're watching this, I've probably already done that tutorial. So this is a cool storage family that's going to save you tons of time. So if I open it up, you're going to notice that it's a line-based storage family. So if I just go over here and let's go place on work plane, and for work plane just make sure that it's a floor plan. If I go from here, as you can see, now it's just creating some storage over there, and I can select actually the storage family. I can set the height, so let's do 200 centimeter high, and for the width let's go with maybe 60 centimeters. Usually these storage elements are like 60 centimeters. Now you can move it in place just like that. So there we go. We've got this storage element here. Let's add one over here. So let's go again to component. Let's change this, yeah, to 200. This one to 60. Let's see if we go like this. Okay, it's going a bit through the wall, so let's place it a bit better. Yeah, there we go. Maybe align it on this side. There we go. So we've got that storage element there. Maybe you can extend it a little bit. There we go. So we've got some storage over there. Let's see, where else can we put it? Oh, of course, here in the garage. So let's go with component and let's place it like that. AL for align, and there we go. So we've got that storage in the garage. Let's see, where else can we fit some storage? You can add some over here if that's what you want. You don't have to, of course. But what I like to do with these storage elements is actually use it to create some kitchen elements. So I'm going to go to component, use this storage element, but for the height, I'm just going to change it to 100 centimeters. And then let's place it over here. Just like that. Go with the align tool. Align it here, extend it here. There we go. So we've got a kitchen element over here, one of those like kitchen spaces. Let's do another one over here on this side, and let's attach it over here by using the align tool. So just type in AL and go over here. There we go. You can lock it in place. By locking it in place, it just means if you move this wall, it's going to move along with it. But yeah, let's leave that out of the... Okay, so it looks already nice. So we've got these kitchen elements over here. And while we're there, maybe it's time to finish off our kitchen. So let's see, what else do we need to add to this kitchen? So for the kitchen, let's go to component. Let's go with load family. Let's see what we have over here for the kitchen. So we've got the sink, the fridge, and the stove. So first, my favorite part of any kitchen, the sink. So the fridge. Let's open that up and let's place it. So it says place on face. You're usually never going to use place on face. So I suggest you go place on work plane and make sure that the placement plane is floor plan. There we go. So now you can flip it around and maybe place it over here. Or maybe over here. Yeah, let's do it over here. And now this storage element, we're just going to move it a bit out of the way so we can align this fridge here in the corner. And here as well. There we go. We've got our fridge, and then our storage place can go just like that. Okay, so once we have this, let's go back to component. Let's load in some extra families. Let's go with the sink. Open that up. Now this sink is face-based, and you actually want to place it face-based. Now if you can't do it in 2D, don't worry, you can always go into 3D. And for now, let's hit escape a couple of times, select this whole floor, and let's go into temporary hide isolate, and let's hide this element. Orbit around till we find our kitchen. There we go, we've got our fridge in place. Let's add the sink now in 3D. So as you can see, now you can place the sink. Let's flip it around using the space key. And there we go, our sink is in place, and it's a cool looking sink, if I might add. Okay, so let's move that sink maybe closer to the fridge, just like that. There we go. We've got our sink in place, and let's do the stove over here. So just go to component, load family, and let's do the stove, our gas stove. Let's see. Again, we can maybe place it. Can we place it over here? Let's see, is at which height it is. Okay, it's at the top level, so it's at roof level. So let's bring it down to our floor plan. But now, as you can see, it's too low, it's on the ground. So you need to give it an offset of 100 centimeters, as that's the height of our kitchen elements. And now let's move it in place. So there we go. It looks like it's in the correct place. If I orbit around a little bit, yeah, looks perfect. There we go. So we've got our kitchen in place. Let's go just to the floor plan to check everything out. Yeah, looks perfect. So let's move it a bit here. Let's center this a bit. And there we go. We've got a little bit of a workspace over here. Here we've got our gas stove, our sink, as well as our fridge. And here we have some storage room over here. Of course, you can make it a bit smaller if you want. You can detach these two walls, but I'm going to leave it as is. I really like the design so far. And to finish this off, let's do the rest of the furniture. So we need to complete our living room as well as our dining area. Now I'm going to have an inside dining as well as outside dining. I think that's really cool to have. So let me go here to component. Let's go to load family, and let's go back to desktop. Here I have my families folder, and here let's find our table with chairs. Open that up. Again, as I said, this will be available with the exercise files, so make sure you download that. And there we go. So we've got our inside and outside dining, and let's do our living room now. So for the living room, let me go here to component. Again, okay. There we go. Load family, and let's do the sofa chair, both the single and the double, and let's do the double first. Maybe place it here. Then let's go with the single one. Place one here, one on the opposite side, kind of like that. And here I want to have some private reading area, and for that I'm going to load in my ball chair. It looks really fun, so I'm just going to load that one in. It looks really cool, and I'm just going to tilt it ever so slightly towards the room, kind of like that. Yeah, that seems like a cool place to be at. Okay, and just to finish it off, maybe add one more chair over here. So I'm just going to select this chair and copy it. So just go CO, and I'm just going to grab it here in the corner and just copy it here. Okay, there we go. Now I've noticed that here I have this area empty, and I want to do some sort of storage over here, but it should probably be low storage, so something that's probably just a meter high where you can throw your keys, stuff like that. Some change perhaps, I don't know. So for that I want to have the same height as I have over here, so let me show you a cool trick in Revit. So perhaps if I select this storage over here, and as you can see the height is at 200 centimeters, and if I type in CS or create similar, it's going to create a storage that's, as you can see over here, 200 centimeters high. But if I go over here to this one that's only 100 centimeters high, that's the size I want for this, and go CS for create similar, as you can see now we're creating one that's actually only 100 centimeters high. So just select the one that you already have existing in the model, that's where all of the parameters are set at the correct dimensions, and then you can place it. I'm just going to type in AL for align and just align it to this wall. And there we go. We've got some storage over here where you can put your shoes and your keys and whatever. So there we go. We've got all of the furniture for our small house completed. And just to finish off this first stage of the project, and the idea behind the first stage is just to have something that you can show to your client, just to present what you have so far as the idea is concerned. Let's do a little bit of site. or a little bit of terrain. So I'm just going to go here to site, because if you want to create any topography in Revit, you need to be in the site plan, just because the visibility is turned off in the floor plan usually. So let's just go to the site plan, go here to massing inside, go to topo surface, and here for the elevation of points, I'm just going to type in -5 centimeters and just do 4 points. One here, one here, one here, and one here. There we go. We've got our terrain. Let's hit finish. And I want to have maybe a road over here that would be nice, that's leading to the garage of the house. So for that, I'm going to use the sub-region tool. So just select that. And before you start doing the sub-region, I suggest you turn the wireframe display option on, just so you can see where the entrance to your garage is at. If you turn this off, as you can see now, because of this overhang of the roof, you can't really see the entrance. So let me just switch that to wireframe, and then here's the entrance of the garage. Let's go here and maybe exit out this. Let's just sketch it out, and then we're going to set it up later on. Okay, so now we can set this, maybe use the align tool for this one. So AL, go over here, align it. There we go. Next thing, align this to this, and again, go here to here. And you can lock it in place. This just means that when you move this one, the other one will move as well. I'm just going to go back. Okay, and I'm just going to select this line and move the dimension line over here. So for the width of the road, I'm going to go with 600 centimeters. That's usually a two-way street, small street, at least in my country. Okay, there we go. So we've got our sub-region, basically our road. Hit finish, and there we go. So as you can see, this is a separate element. And let me turn the hidden line display option back on, and let's go into 3D. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to select the whole terrain, go here into the material, and let's set the material to some grass. Let's see. What do you have for grass? Now you have this grass material, but also you have plant material. I prefer using plant material as it is a lighter shade of green. It looks a bit better in my opinion. And then for this road part, let's set the material. For that, let's try asphalt. Let's see, there we go. Let's go with this one, hit apply, okay. And now if we turn the realistic mode on, there we go, we've got our road. Now you're also going to notice that the house is completely gray. That's because the default material in Revit is gray. So we're going to be talking about the materials and the layers in the course next week as far as all of these elements are concerned. But for now, I'm just going to select the wall, go here into edit type, go into edit structure, and for the material over here, I'm just going to go and find my default material. So the default material is something that Revit is going to, well, default to. And whatever color this material is set at, Revit is going to use that. So let me just go over here, and for shading, let's turn this to white, hit OK. And for appearance, let's do white as well. Hit OK, hit apply. Just double check it that it didn't change. There we go, OK, apply, OK. So as you can see, everything now turned white, just because Revit uses that default material for everything. Now, of course, the whole house isn't going to be white, of course, but for now, let's leave it at that. I think it's a lot better than that ugly gray color. Next thing, let's add just a couple of trees to make it look more appealing to your investor. So let's do one big tree maybe behind the house, and let's do some smaller trees here in front, maybe 3 of them, just to block the vision to these 2 bedrooms. It's usually you don't want your bedrooms to be seen from the street. And maybe do a couple of medium size trees back here in the yard. There we go. Go into 3D. Let's check that out. And I'm just going to switch back to hidden line just because it's a bit easier on the computer. And there we go. We've got a few trees and it all looks nice. Our house looks nice. We have our site plan, and now we have a completed project that you can present to your client as your basically your idea of how the project will look like. And also when we go here to floor plan, here you can see your basic concept as far as the floor plan is concerned. Now one more thing as far as presentation goes, not really that important, but I want to suggest this as well. You can go here, select the wall, go into edit type, and here for the graphics you can make sure that it's set here to solid fill. So just coarse scale fill pattern, and what that basically means, hit apply, okay, and do the same thing for these smaller walls. So edit type, and let's switch this to solid fill as well, hit apply, okay. And now when you're looking at it here at the higher level of detail, it's just going to stay completely white as is. But if I turn this to coarse, you're going to notice that all of the walls are going to turn black, and maybe it's a better representation of your project depending on what you want to achieve with your project. So there you go. We've got a completed, basically just a conceptual plan of our little building in Revit, and here we have 3D. Maybe turn on shadows. Yeah, looks a lot better. And maybe go here into graphic display options and turn on ambient shadows, hit apply, and there we go. Now this looks really nice. Okay, so that concludes this first course where we're just going to be covering how to do the basic house, and now in the next one we're going to be doing a much more detailed version of this house, or basically updating and developing this project further along. Okay, so that covers pretty much everything for this course. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a week.